Mic check, mic check. All right. A few seconds left. Oh, look at that. It's time. Excellent. Cool. Let me switch. Blah, blah, blah. Hello and welcome everyone. This is the Blackberry Broadcast. I am your host, Rap Raven. This is show 94. That means there has been 94 attempts at improving the collective betterment of black people. At least from this broadcaster standpoint anyway, which is good. Let's do more. All right, cool. So let's go through the tradition. No, let me just rearrange my screens. I've got lots of things. I've got too many things. Hold on. Let me save and shut this down. Whatever. Got too many softwares open. As you can hear, my MacBook is going off on one. So let me just close some of this stuff. Fantastic. Good. Oh, yeah. Nice. Voila. Coolio. All right, cool. So let me go to read mode. More space. Oh, yes. Tell a friend to be the friend of the station. This is where we come along to try to find solutions to black challenges. You are part of the process. There is no I in collaboration. I mean, team. Let's do it. All right, cool. Where are we? So, how do we start this? After much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently black people are collectively inadequate. Strong statement. Oh no. What is to be done about this? What is to be done? Well, let's see what we can do. So naturally, we throw links out as we start communicating, trying to find solutions. And when we do, I recommend we follow the 4D values. What are the 4D values? Well, I'll let you know. Discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. Very important. There's actually 6 to us, but we haven't revealed the other 2 yet. In a couple of years, we'll reveal the other for the 6D values. But for now, it's 4D values. Oh, yeah. Discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. If we can use these things, I assure you, helping black people prosper will be that little bit more easier. This comes from experience. Yes, it does. All right, cool. Can we not use derogative terms, please? I know it's fun and cool and very very movie-esque and all that good stuff. But nah, let's not do it for this show, please. Try to be constructive as possible. All right, cool. So what is black betterment, I hear you say? Well, it's black people helping black people on black issues for betterment. This entire show promotes this process. What is this process known as? It's a lifestyle. So this broadcast promotes the lifestyle of black betterment, which is black people helping black people on black issues for betterment. That's right. Hopefully you guys can go and you can make your own broadcast as well, and you can do 10 times better than this one, and you can promote the same concept. This lifestyle is to help black people prosper, because if we don't do this, we won't. Wah, wah, wah. All right, cool. So we will be showing some videos today. So after the Act of 1976, this is a copyright disclaimer. An allowance is made for fair use of purposes. So criticism, comment, news reporting, and scholarship and research. So we're going to be showing other people's videos. Please don't strike us. All right. Now I'm going to post this link in the actual forum. Tell a friend to tell everyone to be our friend. I say every week, and very lazily, if that's even a word, probably not. We could promote our Instagram page much more better, but we don't. So if you got spare time in your time, please click on this link and have a good time and follow that. Tell your friends. But we're using this as a mean to promote the show, but also to start some cultural campaigns, social campaigns, and imagery that we can start there and people can share, and the algorithm can take it everywhere, and we can create mindsets based around the concept of helping black people. Isn't that good? Sounds good to me. So do yourself a favor and the show a favor and follow that black. But let me see if I can actually put that on the screen. It's on the screen now, but I'll leave it up because I'm kind. So please, on Instagram, follow the Black Betterment Building. Do it. If you're in the future time and you're listening for a pre-recording, do it now. If you're live listening, do it now. If you hear it in a parallel universe, do it now. Yes, I should spend more time promoting that, but I don't. Shame on me. All right, cool. So, what is today's fantastic show about, I hear you say? Well, it's about a very serious issue, but one we have to unpack, and one we're going to try to get the family to jump in for. So, let's read it out, shall we? It's what does the Black refugee massacre in Morocco teach us about black allies? There's 2 double spaces. I should have done that, but what are we going to do? Yeah, and is it beneficial for black people to expect non-black people to show social support for black challenges? So what are we talking about? Let me see if I can unpack this for you guys. Unfortunately, in the for those who don't know, in the border in Morocco and Spain, there are refugees coming from. I heard it was Sudan, but it might be also maybe Sudan and some other closely Central African places. I guess maybe I don't want to guess. I should have written it down. I'm trying to see. I didn't write it down because I'm not serious. But hold on. Yeah, well, let's just say Sudan for now. But let's just say like sub-Saharan Africans. Uh, and yeah, they're trying to get into Morocco and Spain, and unfortunately, they were horribly mistreated, and I don't know if the count has gone up, but it says here in one report at least 23 have died in Melilla, Melilla. I'm saying that wrong. If anyone can say that right, say it right for me. But I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. And that's unfortunate. And we're going to unpack that. We're going to study that. We're also going to look at historical stuff all over the world where similar things have happened. But I mean, and I guess I should give a warning. We do have the videos. Should I show it? Well, for those who haven't seen it, there's videos of many black individuals on the floor, not moving and being attacked. Maybe I shouldn't play it. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Should I play it, guys? You guys have seen it? Let me hide that for a minute. Hide. I think we might have to be honest. It's 10 o'clock now. And we try not to show shock value stuff, but I know I understand some people. It's been circling on social media. So let's have a listen to it. Listen, watch, just to give us context. If it gets too much, I might just pull it back. But let's see. So here we go. Let's pause it. So many black people, refugees, detained and face down. And if you look there, some of these pushed down and stuff in the back. Not really the best way to keep people. We're aware that 23 have been murdered. We're not too sure if they're amongst here now. That was another separate case, but these have been detained and the hands tied behind their back and left out in the sun. Looks like some kind of cage device, some kind of lock-off prison type of military scenario. Difficult to watch. Good to see some of the brothers are moving, so hopefully they're still okay. So yeah, for those people who are listening, we have multiple black refugees all of Morocco, talking about bloody pair the three last that I saw were murdered. Peace to catch up.
مثلا دخلوا زي كيخرجوهم.
What we're seeing out in the background is it looks like they found some water. Surrounded like by military.
تقاسيتي البارح ولا؟ لا البارح تقاسي.
Speaking, I assume Moroccan. Anyone can understand Moroccan Arabic, feel free to translate. That's one video. There's a bit more. There's another angle here. Attack now. Yep, throwing down. No one's aware if these are past murdered or just passed out. We are aware 23 were massacred and killed. I'm hoping these were not them. I'm hoping that these are just either resting, pretend to be dead, or passed out. Use this as a case study at the moment. Never good to see, never good to see. Now, many ways we're going to approach this. So obviously when this happened, you know, let me see if I can skip back to blessings. Big up everyone. Big up Empress Kushti, Kushti Cosmetics, and Tasha J. Let's go back to the what does the Black Refugee Massacre in Morocco, double space, teach us about Black allies? So I think we can unpack this in different ways. As you know, many Black people for allies, you know, allies of Black people, and many non-Black people say we're your allies and stuff. And what we're watching is, you know, how do we unpack this? Like, is this humane? Some people, a lot of people, they say, well, you know, a lot of these brothers, you know, come from Muslim countries, and the people they're being obtained by, beat down by, are Muslim. And some people say that if that's the case, should there be an outcry by the Muslim community? Who knows? You know, some people say that, you know, if it was different people from different places, would the outcry be different? Or would they even go through that kind of same experience? So these are things we want to unpack. Obviously, we're asking, the second question is it beneficial for Black people to expect non-Black people to show social support for Black challenges? You know, so this is something that happened obviously in North Africa, Morocco, where Morocco is Spain. You know, the deaths of at least 23 African men at the, I'm going to say this wrong, so forgive me, the Moroccan border on the 24th of June 2022 requires an independent, impartial investigation capable of determining what occurred and who bears responsibility for such loss of life. Human Rights Watch said today, deaths occurred during the attempt by as many as 2,000 people to enter Spain by climbing the high chain link fence surrounding Amelia, one of the two Spanish enclaves in North Africa. An independent, impartial investigation, I'm sure, should identify the cause of death and whether security forces were responsible for the loss of life, with a view to ensuring accountability and justice for the families of the victims. So, well, 23 have died. I wonder how that happened. The video I'm going to show. So 23 have died. We know that we see them kicking and beating people and then tearing on the floor. So maybe they might say 23 fell to the death side. Who knows? Who knows? But we know that they weren't handling them with peaceful hands. Video and photography shows bodies screwing up on the ground in pools of blood. We saw that. Morocco's security forces kicking and beating people, and the Spanish Guardian civil launching urges the men clinging to the fences. Okay, tear gas. Sorry, I read that wrong. My eyes bad. Civil launching tear gas at men. I didn't see that. Launching tear gas at men clinging to the fences. So obviously they're trying to get them down. By all means necessary to their maximums. Acting Deputy of Europe and Central Asia Director at Human Rights Watch, that's Judith Sunderland. Officers in Spain, Morocco, and Europe Union should be condemned this violence and ensure effective, impartial investigation to bring justice for those who lost their lives. Yeah. So they're talking about human rights now. And there's, I'm looking on the web, but I'm looking there. There's obviously graves, freshly dug graves at a cemetery in Morocco where local activists believe authorities plan to bury their bodies of the migrants who died there. Should they give the bodies back? I don't even know how that works now. Unmarked graves, it looks like as well, of course. Oh dear. Right. Oh dear. Okay. Okay. So right. And what's this next one? So there's maybe I should. No, I won't do that. Thousands protests. So there's some protests at the border, but we'll come back to that another time. All right, cool. So what we're going to do now, while we looked, unfortunately, we looked at a very terrible incident that's happening recently, and people are wondering, who, So the question I ask is, should people be speaking out about this? I guess that would be nice, but once again, the Black Bear broadcast tries to give Black people a different way to process information, and one of those ways is understand that collectively Black people have no friends. Very important quote. So to ask personally, is it beneficial for Black people to expect non-Black people to show social support for Black challenges? No. I think it isn't. I think it's more beneficial to find ways to work within the group. And I think, fair enough, if you follow content of everything, his new channel, Speaker's Corner, I was actually debating a brother. It's up live now, just put it up live an hour ago, it looks. And one of the brothers came in there, and they were like talking about the Brotherhood of Islam and Ummah, and that's brilliant. And I was trying to say that whether you're Islamic or you're Christian or you're atheist or whatever it is, there seems to be a consistent pattern of a special dedicated mistreatment to Black people, as in like the Black lives isn't necessarily treated the same, and this seems to be universal over the world. That there's something about Aboriginal, melanated, sub-Saharan looking phenotype of Black people, or anything closely connected to that seems to bring out the worst of non-Black people. At times, it seems. Could be wrong. If I am, correct me. This reminds me not too long ago when we were dealing with Haiti going into America. So the Haitians were trying to get into America. So we've actually blackified some videos just to see if we can. Which one's the one? Let me click on this one.
Trying to corral
Rewind.
Haitian yesterday.
Is Whoopi Goldberg in, and let's see if we can unpack. So this is a Haiti a few years, a few months ago.
We saw horrifying footage emerging of mounted patrol people trying to corral Haitian immigrants trying to cross the Texas border to seek asylum. Now, Haiti was just ravaged by an earthquake, and their president's assassination has left the country in chaos. But the administration is still flying migrants back there. Is this beyond an immigration issue? Is this a full-blown human rights crisis? And if it is, why aren't we treating it like one?
These images, they're so horrific. And I think we need to remind ourselves, these are human beings. They're not animals. They deserve our great compassion.
That's another thing you say as well, like reminding the world that people of African descent, Black people, are not animals. You see that a lot.
Compassion and empathy. People don't leave their homes unless they are desperate to do so. It's a powerful example, I think, as well, of why foreign assistance is so important.
Yeah.
If people have no hope where they are, they're going to move. Human history is full of that. So my question to the Biden administration is, why aren't you talking about Haiti?
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing anything to help Haiti?
Yeah.
Why weren't you prepared for this? This shouldn't be a surprise, as you mentioned. An earthquake, a coup, a pandemic.
Yeah.
Of course people are leaving.
Yeah.
Why is it a shock that 15,000 people show up at the border?
Yeah.
We got to help them where they are.
Yeah.
And the administration should have been, I think, better prepared, and I wish they'd talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the reason that we're not seeing more help, if I'm going to be frank about it, is because they're Haitian. I think that is the history.
Explain, please, to the...
Well, we saw it, and you and I talked about this, Whoopi. We saw it when it first came to the demonizing of Haitians when it came to the AIDS crisis.
That's right.
And then we saw it continuing. It really began with the raping and pilfering of France by Haiti, and the punishment of Haiti for becoming the first Black free nation in our hemisphere. And I think that U.S. policy towards Haiti has always been corrupt. And it doesn't have to be that way, because we know that the United States can do it. There is a way to do it. There's just no will to do it, because the United States and the White House has promised.
Good quote from Manchester Boy, M15. Why are Black people surprised? Black people don't even value themselves, so how do we expect other groups to?
To bring 95,000 Afghans here. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be brought here.
So the guest speaker also is reminding of how Afghanis and other people are welcomed in. We can also look at how Ukrainians were welcomed to other countries while Black people were not.
Because they should be, right? That is the promise of this country. But if you can bring 95,000 Afghans here, then why are you sending 86 Haitians back on an airplane to a country that has been devastated? So it's not about whether or not there's a way. It's not about that there's a pandemic. Because this policy started with the Trump administration. It's called Title 42, and the Trump administration decided to ban migrants, from refugees from coming. So when people say, well, get in line, there is no line because of the Trump administration. And there has never been a line for Haitians. And I take this personally because my husband is Haitian. And I have been to Haiti many, many times. And it is a beautiful, beautiful country with a rich culture and a beautiful people. And they should not be treated like this. And enough is enough.
Well, kind of where Sunny is ending the videos, what shocked me is, you know, immigration has been a problem for decades. I don't even know if I have the answer. But what I couldn't reconcile is when you're watching these people being chased down on a horse, and they're trying to bring, by the way, food to their families who aren't across the border. They're stuck under a bridge and can't eat. They raised the levels of the water so they couldn't cross the water. This is what you do if an animal were infesting your yard. You do something like this. So the fact that to me is more troubling actually than is
Notice the animal references you see a lot.
complicated as immigration seems. The way people are being treated on that to me is absolutely more disturbing and a little more hopeless.
The sister in the middle didn't use any animal references, but the two European ladies did. I'm not trying to make a man of a mole. I'm just doing a case study.
Than I want to feel about this. But the other thing that bothers me, and I want to say this lightly, as a woman, I'm pro-choice. What bothers me is when people that are pro-choice see something like this, and there's no one there lining up to fight for those who have no voice, who are being chased down. You know, this is happening on the Texas border. Texas is a primarily pro-life state. Where is the rage at these people who are being treated this way? These are living, sentient beings.
So she's making basically in America the life and pro-choice is like the ability for women to choose whether they have abortions. This kind of. I don't think you can use that term now, can you? Can terminate pregnancies, whatever. And she's saying that the state that it's happening in, they're very pro-life, and she's, I guess, befuddled that no one is coming out because you know the belief is that they're pro-life. But as we know, especially around that kind of area, I don't think they meant Black life, but who knows? Remember, this is a lot of the states that when people say Black Lives Matter, they say all lives matter.
Who are on their feet and self-sufficient, and no one's there lining up to help them.
By the way,
A lot of children.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Anyone who is pro-life, I happen to be pro-life.
So notice again this is, I'm just reading this as I'm going along. First time I'm really seeing it, but they're now that this case studies. You know, this is how my mind processes things. Notice that now it's slightly moving towards a different agenda. Could be wrong. But I know they're trying to use it as a metaphor, or are they? But yeah.
If you are pro-life, you have to be pro every life.
Yes. Right.
These are living human beings, men, women, and children, babies. It is horrific how they are being
And why aren't we
treated. If
taking
we
some
care
of these-
about life, we have to care about every life.
The holding areas, what I was told is there's a policy there that they can't crowd them in because of a pandemic. This to me is a bigger problem. Why don't we take the vaccines that aren't being used in certain states, line these people up, give them a shot, and put them somewhere other than a bridge?
And that's what they've done with
Okay.
Afghan refugees. They have managed with Afghan refugees to provide vaccinations. Why can't they do that for Haitian migrants? And I will say this is against international law.
Yeah.
It's against the United Nations 1967 protocol relating to the state of refuge. It prevents countries from sending migrants back to their home country when they have life-threatening fears.
Does that work for Black nations? Who knows?
And what other life-threatening fear can you have other than an earthquake, a coup, lack of food, lack of water? I mean, it fits.
So for those who are just joining now, unfortunately we showed a video in Morocco, when Morocco hit Spain, of refugees trying to flee towards Morocco, asylum seekers, this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, they've been, what is it called when your hands are tied behind your back? Is it hog tied? I think it's called hog tied. And blood everywhere, people beaten up. Unfortunately, some might be lifeless. And people were saying, "Where's the outrage?" And then who should other people be speaking up against this? And what I was doing is showing a pattern of in America, different part of the world, where people who look very similar to the guys who in Morocco, the Haitians, were being similarly mistreated. Maybe not as extreme, because as far as I'm aware, there was no deaths there, which is good. But I think we're looking at patterns here, and I think one pattern that seems to be there is the outcry the same. And I think this lady's now showing that when other refugees like from Afghanistan, these kind of places, they flew them by plane and this kind of stuff, but not so much the Haitians.
The bill. And so I'm so disappointed in the Biden administration today. So very disappointed. And I know we're going to.
Was there.
Right. So that's what we're doing. So, yeah. So, what am I going to do? So, basically, yeah. So, that's what we noticed there. So, I'm going to go back. There's some other video. Let me just 1 minute of the other one. Hold on.
Thousands.
It's just the
Under the International Bridge in Del Rio in Texas, a camp that's become home to thousands.
Oh, yeah, so that's more Haitian stuff. All right, let me click back there. So what does the Black Refugee Massacre in Morocco teach us about Black allies? For those who are joining now, I'll show you some of the clips if you haven't seen it. All the people you see on the floor are sub-Saharan Africans from Sudan and places like that. And they were seeking refuge in Morocco, but they've been obtained. I think they may try to get to Spain, maybe. Big up Dominic Smith. Hey, family. You might see somebody be up. Just start again. And then we have another video, unfortunately, where a bit more rough on. Now this is we don't know if this is unconscious, so we'll move away from that one. So yeah, very inhumane behavioral pattern, quite consistent all over the world, to be honest. The question is it beneficial for Black people to expect non-Black people to show social support for Black challenges? We are asking what other governments respond to. I haven't really seen much. If you guys have any kind of government response, we read out something. I read out something not too long ago from Judith Sunderland, who is acting Deputy Europe and Central Asian Director of Human Rights Watch, wherever that is. I haven't heard anything from the UN, but have you guys heard anything? Let me know. I haven't. If you have, that would be nice for you to let us know. But not at the moment. Most unfortunate. Yeah, never good. So, I mean, well, I'm very aware that as this is circulating in the interweb, some people are asking, should people from Morocco or should Ummah of Islam speak up and this kind of stuff? Some people say, well, no, this is not a Muslim problem. This is a humanitarian problem. Some people say it's African problem. Only the videos going viral. Yeah, that's true. Oh, you see, haven't heard anything, but only videos are going viral. Very interesting. I wonder why that is. The Ukrainian issues and the Afghanistan issues seem to go much further. And once again, start telling you about black media. You need to kind of have a better black media to report this stuff and to get people aware. And hence why we need black women. You see, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Let me find my link. Hold on. So, family, what I'm going to do while I'm talking. I don't know what direction people want to go in. Feel free to jump in if anyone wants to talk on this topic. Um, I think I made it clear with the question. What does the Black Refugee Massacre in Morocco teach us about Black allies? Some might say that despite this, or because of this, I think when I speak publicly and stuff, you always hear many non-Black people want to get involved in the conversation and claim to be allies. Really, collectively, Black people have no friends. Uh, that's a quote that I've always used and it's been very beneficial. And that helps motivate Black people to not expect anyone to really come to your aid wherever you are. And maybe hopefully focus on ways to fix up places, areas and that to make sure that Black people have better living spaces, better economic access, all that kind of good stuff. So that's what that is. Yeah. So family, feel free to jump in. As you know, funny enough, I was at Speaker's Corner the other day, and we missed half of my conversation wasn't recorded, but the other half was. And the starting conversation was about what was it about? Something about, I guess, the same old, right? Blacks coming together. And I was analyzing certain other channels and stuff, and obviously that Speaker's Corner speak, and just seeing how the programming of Black people not wanting to necessarily come together to build stuff, and expecting others to kind of do it for them and stuff, right? Hold on, let me roll this down. Welcome, brother Kel.
How you doing, brother Raven?
I'm super good, man. Welcome. Don't know if you've been aware of the Black Refugee Massacre in Morocco, but that's what we're covering this week.
Yeah, I'm aware of it, brother. We were speaking about it before, and yeah, you're definitely right, brother. Black Bearman is definitely needed on so many levels. But it's just that the unthinkanized Africans, we're going to have to, unfortunately, brother, fight them down as well, because they are paving the way with a very unrealistic vision that they have non-African friends. And I always say is that, I don't have to convince African people to be a Pan-Africanist. I don't have to, manipulate or sedate you to be a Pan-Africanist. The non-African people will tell you every single day, we will never help you sincerely. So one way or another, you're going to have to formulate some form of betterment to tackle these issues. So definitely it's a reminder, but we are a people who's very hard of hearing, and we love mistreatment, and we're addicted to it, and we have romanticized it. So it's the case of, when are we going to say to ourselves, oh, this hurts now, so I want to run away, or I want to defend myself from the pain.
I hear that. Welcome to the show, Empress Kushti. Welcome.
Hey, bro.
Good to hear you, sis. So, as you know, what does the Black Refugee Massacre in Morocco teach us about Black allies? Is it beneficial for Black people to expect non-Black people to show social support for Black challenges? Empress Christie, any opinions so far on the issue? Or are you aware of it? Are you have any opinions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely aware of it. I think it's good that you kind of just started off and just saying that the answer is no. It's pretty obvious that, relying on anyone else to help. I mean, even when we say support, I don't know what kind of support we're asking for. The last thing we need is a bunch of people just doing a bunch of hashtags at this point. When I looked at the image, I wasn't. It's actually getting to the point now where I understand. For a while now, I've understood why a lot of Black people have said that they don't like to see these kind of images of us, because it kind of desensitizes yourself to it. I wasn't surprised when I saw it. And I guess in a way, it's a good and a bad thing where they say that you need to take the emotion out of things and start thinking strategically. But at the same time, it's almost at a point now where we might actually get immune to seeing this. We start seeing Black lives as they see Black lives. And, I think it's a two-sided coin that's happening currently with this. But I just think this kind of emphasizes that if we need to promote a movement, a hashtag, something, it should be more towards not the outrage of no one saying anything, but more towards the fundamental point of why are they leaving? And we know why. So it's about putting pressures on their own governments to stop having these countries in shackles and chains, and let them run these countries how they need to be done. To expect some sort of handout is almost just gone back to like 20, 30 years ago when it was like, okay, you see a starving child and you give them a fish instead of teaching them to fish. At this point, we just want, I think at this point, I feel that if we're going to use quote unquote allies or the media or pressure, because that's the only way I can see allies really helping us, is just people who put pressure. The pressure needs to be put in regards to the key of the issue, why these migrants are coming over. It's not about, for me, it's no longer about the treatment. It should be expected if you go into these countries and you evolve a certain skin tone, that I don't know why we are still shocked about racism when we see racism. Like, I don't know why. We've seen it many times. These people keep showing their hand. It's going to continue to happen. So I think what we need to do as the one who can oversee it is start directing this energy. So instead of screaming for support, scream for these people to push back on their governments, to take these financial shackles off, to stop getting involved in their governments and leave these countries alone to govern themselves a bit more. So, yeah, that's my kind of angle on it at the moment. But yeah.
Right, I hear that. I hear that very much. Yeah, and these are good points. I mean, I think one reason some people might say some of the outrage is there because there is expectation that Black people, first of all, wouldn't be treated that way, and second of all, that there'll be more people locally in the lands or in the media whatever who'll jump in to actually lend a hand and stuff like that.
It's interesting because who would be the person, what type of person, especially if they're Black, would think that Black people shouldn't be treated this way? That wouldn't be treated this way. Not shouldn't, but wouldn't be.
Yes, that's a good point. Who out there thinks that this is not like... So here's what it is. It's like...
This is what I'm saying, bro. It's like, why are we surprised at racism? It exists. We know this. This is bound to happen.
I think when you do like for like, unfortunately, as I was trying to demonstrate with the Haitian videos, like for like, you don't see a similar treatment across the board.
Yeah.
And, and this is the campaign. The campaign is to collate all this information and paint a narrative of the motivation by why it's best to have inward support. It's interesting because I was listening to a couple of, as I do, go around the interweb and listening to people talk about allyship or so, I've got this friend, I've got that friend, this kind of stuff. And I think I don't know if certain Black people are ready for certain kind of discussions, really. And that's why I say that sometimes certain people, their opinions or their authority or whatever, they won't be able to get to a certain level of any kind of decision making when it comes to, authority and betterment, because there's many Black people who don't seem to have Black people's collective best interests at heart, and they're more concerned about excuse making or allyship and kumbayas and this kind of stuff, and it's very shocking. It's very shocking, because especially when So you know, some of these people, you talk to them and they've got many theories about all other stuff, but when it comes to the necessity of black people coming together, this is like alien science. This is something that cannot be done, or it shouldn't be spoken. You know what I mean? So it's just very
I,
interesting.
I do believe instead of reaching out to the government, which is not going to work, unfortunately, because the the white supremacy agenda is to exterminate blacks, restrict natural rights of owning everything, vision of plans to dealing with blacks, and the principle is always silent. So we have to make treaties with other black organizations, and you know, we're all on these YouTube, Instagram, etc., right? So we do have the media platform, but we have to start making these direct, candid treaties with some of the black organization. When we've done that, that's when we start gathering our immigration or our lawyers that can tackle if some of us want to go into certain places to build and have a treaty. That has to be the solution. But to go to the government, you know, we need to leave the African leaders, you know, with the white supremacists, unfortunately.
Yeah, so as I was saying, Brian, maybe you never heard it that properly. I was saying that these so-called allies, because the question's based on the allies, and what Raven was saying is that the current focus right now is why is this happening, or why is it happening to people that look like us, and it never happens to anyone else, and this is not the first occurrence this happens, right? So what I was saying is that what we do is we redirect the energy, we redirect the focus. Do I think there's one rule that fits all? No, because I think that this comes down under a bigger umbrella. It comes down, this is down to so many things that is wrong with us as a people. This is the end result of it. So I don't even think that one particular going to one bunch of people, and it's stuff that was broken down. It's financial, it's family, it's loads of reasons why we as a people are going through what we're going through now. But in regards to what we are currently focusing on, and the current stuff that are coming out in regards to, you know, why is this happening, it's all, and this is what I was saying earlier, it's the shock of racism. To me, I know exactly why this is happening. When this happened, I didn't particularly expect anyone to say anything, because I've seen this happen before. I've seen women going into slavery, kids going into slavery, nothing happened. So it's this conscious of the shock of racism. People need to first, it's like alcohol, it's like alcoholism. Some people are so, they believe their own hype. They don't understand what they actually are. So the first thing is to do is probably step forward and acknowledge that you're actually an alcoholic before you can get any help. The first thing our people need to do, first of all, clearly, for those who are looking up in the air, wondering how this can happen and why this constantly happens to us, is to acknowledge that racism exists.
Yeah. Also, you know, when I look at it from a political scientific analysis, some of it was very interesting in the 60s, which the government was very exhausted, and I realized there were so many black movements that were, their ideologies were different, but they definitely were sticking together, man. Like, you had the Garvey movement, the Nation of Islam, you know, you had all these movements, and it was exhausting the government, man. And the Black Panther movement, of course. So from an analysis, this has to happen again. You know, we've got all these platforms. You got the Black Betterment. You know, you've got all these different black organizations, and we have to stifle and exhaust the government again. You know, we've got to keep them on their toes, because they seem to be very synchronized in being very comfortable with us as a people. Whereas, as I said, in the 60s, they were on their toes, which is why we need to emphasize this treaty, man. The treaty has to come, if we can get the treaty, we've got Zoom, we've got all these things. And that's when, we can have a coalition and limit these types of horrific events, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Reading the comments now. I was mistreated by a black woman for my accent yesterday at work. Black people hate black people. You might have to go. I don't know what your accent is. I'm assuming you are a black person. I'm assuming, of course, because that would make more sense. But let us know your accent and give us more context on that. But if what that does say is if there are black people who don't like Aboriginal traditional black languages, accents, fashions, or what it might be, this is a part of anti-black hatred where anything of black origin or African origin will be tertiary, never primary, and I was never to the liking. And that's why, of course, we need our own media companies promote black fashion and black accents and all the kind of stuff that are normal. I mean, even in Jamaica, you had to put on the Queen's accent to get on the news and this kind of stuff. This was a few years, not too long ago. I don't know if that's still the case, but I know that's how it was not too long ago.
But there is something I agree with what Sister Kushti said as well, is that we don't seem to understand racism. And I mean, no disrespect to the brother who said that he's been mistreated by the black woman. She's absolutely right, man, because I notice when you speak to African descendants, they've all got their own version of what racism is. It's phenomenal, they seem to forget that whether you like it or not, that the racism was formulated and built by psychologists, psychiatrists, etc. Man, it's thoroughly thought out by those types of strategies. So a Pan-Africanist has to use their black psychiatrists or to have a code or to decipher these things. Like, for example, Dr. Amos Wilson, Francis S. Wilson, and the list goes on. So that would be the best option for you to understand racism, instead of having your own, ideology of what it is. Because for you to say the black woman's mistreated, you have to understand psychologically where she got that mindset from. Any form of mistreatment on kids by any black woman or black man, or excessive beatings or name calling, etc., that all comes from enslavement. This is not from our culture. This is the culture of the Europeans, the way they taught to one another historically, and they've passed that indoctrination. Also, we have to go back. Why is the black woman doing certain things, right? Because she's been taught that, the Willie Lynch. So definitely we have to start teaching our people what racism is, not the way how you feel it is, but the way how it is psychologically.
Yeah, words matter. Words matter. I think, I agree with that. I think definitely a re-education needs to come, and also strategies of how. I think delineation and this kind of stuff is what might be necessary, like establishing. Because sometimes you might go on panels and stuff, and you might realize that even though the panel's full of black people, we're not even remotely on the same page, because some people might even struggle with the concept of working with other black people to work on black issues. And I think there might be a value in drawing a line. And that brings me to my next kind of graph. This is something I've been speaking about for many years, about when you're trying to do something in the community, where you could break it down to 3 phases. So phase 1 is the aim, like a purpose or intention and desired outcome. So let's say that the aim is for black people to do all things inwards and find solutions and create industry and all that good stuff. So you have 5% of the black world population coming up with those ideas. Next is phase 2, where it's the action phase, right? So the fact, the process of doing something typically to achieve an aim. So phase 2 is we're looking for maybe 30% of people of the black population to try to actually action this aim and be consistent. Now, phase 3 is the assimilation aim. Now, the reason why I brought this up is because when I speak publicly and I come across many black people, it's very evident that their psychology and their mindset and their brain computer isn't really wired to actually be inward solution based or black orientated in any form, even though they might think they are, right? And the way they are going to change is through assimilation, meaning the phase 2, the action that's been done has worked its magic, and industries have changed, and philosophies have changed, and ideas are out there, and they're floating around. And without the black people knowing it, they're assimilated into a better way of being, right? So assimilation is the process of taking in, fully understanding information or ideas, the process of becoming familiar to something. And the percentage needed for that is 0, meaning no one needs to do that. It's already done. The world has changed, and you're in that change. So essentially, we're looking for 5% of the aim phase 1 people, and then 30% of the action people. So I guess when I talk to people out here, I try to establish what phase are they in, like, because some people you talk to, you'll never be able to include them in anything or any discussions because their mind is really somewhere else. And how you can detect that is if you're talking to someone and you're constantly bringing solutions or solution seeking, and they're constantly like shooting it down, and then they're constantly always talking about non-black people and forgiveness and individualizing certain topics and individualizing certain experiences and not recognizing collective betterment or collective ideas, and they keep going to their own kind of typical thing that's going on. Then in that case, you might have to put them in phase 3. I mean, you're never going to be able to work side to side with them because they're already culturally compromised and they're completely unsynchronized. So you then have to just how to help them is by working with other people and creating the environment where they benefit and they don't know. And that was a topic I was discussing at Speaker's Corner last week, and it's up, and I might play it. Just for us to listen to as well. Yeah. So that's something that I will be expanding the concept of allowing people to know that we don't necessarily think that all the people we talk to are actually synchronized with things we're doing. We're essentially looking for people. And one thing I will get in the habit of asking is, what's your opinions on black people helping black people on black issues? Do you reckon that's a good thing? And you'll be surprised when people will actually shake, rattle, and roll when you ask this. And this could be the most, alleged pro-black person or where it might be. There's many people shaking their bones when they hear these concepts. So it's something that we want to be aware of. And one other thing, go ahead, brother.
In fact, those groups, what you mentioned, the ones who are, they make excuses to help out people. They're the reason why African brothers and sisters are going to certain places and getting mistreated because they're listening to those types of ideologies. Not all non-African people are bad. There's racism everywhere from all colors. Where we've got power because we know who we are. Our brothers and sisters who don't understand racism, who sabotage at the back of them, they're listening to these people. And then you've got Morocco, you've got Spain, what's happening. So they are responsible for why we get mistreated, man, unfortunately.
So what I'm going to do is...
I do think as well, sorry, bro, I just wanted to add something, if that's okay.
No, of course.
I do think as well that this whole notion that the pavements are paved with gold needs to just be stopped. I think with us as a people, because we don't have so many wins, this perception of, we always want to bring a perception of life's great, lucrative, they've made it, and a lot of people who have done that that treacherous trip, or even people who have just come over and not done it in such a dangerous way. You know, they could be living in the most direst way out here and will still not go back home, because the notion or the consensus back home is that you're in the land of gold. Like, if you there's no excuse not to make it there, and it's almost like a shame and embarrassment to go back empty-handed, you know. And I think that needs to be stopped. This kind of illusion is still going on. I mean, my grandmother, she sat me down, and when we went to Jamaica, and she showed me, like, she still kept it, and it literally did say pavements paved with gold. These were newspaper cutouts. So if we're still promoting that, how many years later, that people still have that perception that it's just like that is, that this is riches, like literally step off and you can make it. And people have this illusion. It's not getting fed back to the people who have made it over here because of the shame. And when you go back home, the illusion like is everywhere is great here. So it's going to continue the cycle. I feel that if more people were aware, I'm not saying it would all stop, but this illusion of this greatness and these riches and this acceptance and these liberal English people, our mother country, all of that, you know, the colonial, the queen, the jubilee, all of this illusion that, you know, you're going to something greater for you, you know, the savior, that needs to be cut out. And that's why I did make those suggestions to you that, you know, I'm hoping that we do a topic in regards to the current climate that's happening in the UK, because although they might be not directly Black issues, they are affecting Black people. You know, more people need to know that this so-called great country, and it's paved with gold, is barristers were on strike. You know, TFL's not working 3 days a week. You can't get olives because of Brexit. They're threatening to stop the Human Rights Act. Like, we need to make it aware that there's no pavement of gold right now. Boris is an idiot every other day. You know, the police are now threatening to strike. The police are out there raping women. I think there should be more of a realness coming out. And I think that although these are not necessarily directly Black issues, when you're talking about taking away, when someone like Priti Patel is saying that I could take away your nationality, yeah, and things like that, that's what we're living in real time. Who do we think that's going to affect first when they actively do this?
Very good point.
We need to start highlighting the pressures that people, the living crisis, these are real life issues that are happening. And I think once people from the diaspora can hear that, it might deter them. When they're hearing what people are saying will deter them. These are not just people who have come over recently and they want to hide all of their riches. No, maybe they're just not making anything. If you don't believe those people who've come over, maybe you can believe people who have been born and bred up in it. You know, and I just think there needs to be more of an open talk about the current situation, what we are facing here as a people, that might again switch on the switch, you know, to understand why a code is necessary or why a Black betterment is necessary. And also, I think it'll be a big deterrent to people who constantly think that this land is filled with gold. Because when we interact with people here, you're still surprised at some of the things they're shocked about. And you just think, yeah, it's not great here. You know, I'm definitely from that lineage where I am now that person who will have to handle the calls from back home. We'll have to start sending out the barrels and things like that. And you really start realizing that these people think that this place is like heaven on earth. And if you tell them different, you're being bad mind or you're just lying. So I think these are real life ways that we could effectively help. It might not eradicate it. I'm not saying that's the only way, but these are things that there are things where we could be helping, and that's one of them.
Well, I do think there's a value in strategies to make sure that when Black people go to different lands, there needs to heighten the tendencies of trying to be with other Black people and listen to the things they say. Because we are aware that some Black people might come from Africa, Caribbean, come here, or come to America, or come to Canada, and their whole thing is to not associate with other Black people and just associate with the dominant society. And I think that's a bit of a waste. But welcome, Mr. Pilu. Is that Mr. Pilu?
Yeah, Mr. Pillow, I'm here. How you doing? How you doing, everybody today?
Welcome, brother. So this week we'll answer the question of let me find hold on. Let me, so I can find that. Give me 17 seconds, family. Let me give you the exact correct thing. Move that to the side. Yeah. What does the Black refugee massacre in Morocco teach us about Black allies? Is it beneficial for Black people to expect non-Black people to show social support for Black challenges?
Okay, yeah. Speaking on that, I mean, I don't know too much about the issue. I'm just now. This is news to me that you're saying it is news to me, and I think that you're right about no Black people should not expect non-Black people to have black interests at their heart. No, they should not expect that, right? They should not expect that. But was speaking on what the lady was speaking on earlier, it's a very complicated issue because me myself, I'm an immigrant. I live in D.C. in Washington D.C. in America, but I'm originally
Right.
from Sierra Leone, and I'm just give you personal examples of my life. Like for example, like my father, growing up, my father, well, even up until recently, he told me that the reason why he'll never go back to Sierra Leone is for two reasons. First and foremost, he said the two reasons is security and health. That's the basic thing. Like think about. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the Caribbean. I've only been to Bahamas, and Bahamas was pretty. It's not too bad. It was pretty developed. It wasn't. I wasn't that much. I didn't see a lot of extreme poverty when I was in. But then again, I went to a tourist site, so I don't know. But it doesn't seem that bad. But the certain things that the things that we need in the third world countries, more especially like places like Sierra Leone. I'm not talking about everywhere. I could talk about the place I know best. That's Sierra Leone, where I'm from. Is that you do need health and security? I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like my dad's attitude towards it because even him, he has a lot of properties, but he doesn't want to give it to me. He wants to sell them all because he doesn't want us going back to Sierra Leone because he thinks that is like it's too much of a is like it's too unsafe for us. He doesn't want us back there, right? And him and his cousins, they don't want to get passed down all these things that our grandfathers passed down to them. But to make a long story short, yeah, I mean, if we have that, if we have security and health, a lot of things can be made too. But we need to have priorities too in those countries. Like in the truth be told, like there is a health problem over there. Like for example, I'm gonna give you example. Like over there, there's only one dialysis machine in the whole country. Let's say you get like kidney failure, something like that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a foreign place with a healthcare, you might just die. Like it's a lot of we need some basic things that when it comes down to it, if you don't have the basic things to make something happen, it's hard for you to work for something to happen. That's why a lot of people feel like they can't come back because they feel like just the basic things that they're insecure over there that they are over here. So it's gonna take a lot of hard work. I mean to build the black world is only going to be the people dedicated to do it, and we can't get upset that everybody isn't dedicated to it. You know what I'm saying? The people who are dedicated to it have to just be dedicated to it, and those who are not, you can't really get upset with them because there's reasons for it too. You have to understand the cold hard facts about the thing. If you want to be honest about developing the black world, you gotta be honest about the cold hard facts of where the black world is at. You know what I'm saying? If you can't be honest about that to yourself and see, look, this is an uphill battle and those who want to do it should do it. Yes, I believe in it, right? But I'm not going to upset myself over other people who don't believe in it, even to happen to be black, because it's like black better. What you I hear you call it black betterment. I personally call it black positivity. It's for those who is for those who want it. You know what I'm saying? It's for those who want it. And then I mean, when the results show, because people are naturally attracted to results. So you have to have results. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have the results to show for it, is less attractive. I mean, that's just life. People are attracted to results. You know, so that's what I gotta say about that.
Yeah, so Mr. Peter, so how I'm going to tie into is the concept of obviously your family left Sierra Leone. I guess like the Sunnis left Sudan to go to Morocco for a better life, and obviously the question I'll ask is, if your family did get to America and now they're in the situation where they can own land and own buildings, do they do anything to go back and maybe fix some of the challenges or donate some of the things that the country doesn't have?
I want to, but not everybody wants to. Not everybody has that heart. Not everybody has the dedication. Some people just, some people are just like my parents. The way they are, that's how they are. The way they are is like, you know what? We left for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Even my auntie, my mom's sister, she broke down to me and said, you know what? When I think about it, I left for a reason. You know, that's what she says. That's her mentality. Some people like, that's just their
Right.
mentality. Some people have the mentality that, you know what, I left because I mean, some people felt that they had to get out. You know what I'm saying? Because I got friends now. I got a lot of friends now all over Africa, and the only thing they want to do is get out, get out, get out. Like I have a good friend, right? He just wants to get out. He live in Ghana,
Right.
and he like it's so hard for him because he's a teacher, right? And he doesn't make
Right.
that much money. He's a teacher in Ghana, but his whole family's like for example, his mom's illiterate. He was the first person in his family to even go to college.
Okay.
And even that small salary he gets as a teacher, he has like 20 people who always begging him for money every day. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right.
So it's like some people is like, you know
Absolutely.
what, they want to
Brother,
get out.
brother. All right, cool. Thanks for that. So what I'm saying, how we're tying it into, because we're tying it into like the motivation for people to obviously different dynamics, but these people from Haiti or people from Sudan who put themselves through tremendous danger to escape. And obviously, many of them unfortunately have died. But there are some who actually have a better connection and are able to get into other countries like America, like UK. And the question is, when they get there, we're asking like, what happens afterwards, and what are the motivations? The next question I'm going to ask you is, with the people who came from Sierra Leone, your family and friends, do they integrate with the African Americans? Do they integrate with the European Americans? Do they integrate just themselves? Do they intermarry? Who are they marrying? What is happening when they get to America?
Okay, well, my little sister's engaged now to an African American. She's engaged right now. My little sister's engaged. But he's African American. He's straight up like African American. My other cousin, her first husband was Jamaican, and now she with a Sierra Leone, but she was with a Jamaican. Her first two kids were with a Jamaican. The My other cousin, he's with an African American. My other cousin is with another African American. It's mostly mixed, and they do a lot because once they come here, they kind of assimilate. If you for the most part, most people assimilate into black culture in America, especially in Prince George's County. Where I live in DC because I live in a black city, so
Right.
it's like that was like even the town I live in, my township is like 90% black. It's like we have a couple, we have like one Filipinos, and then we have a couple Hispanics, and everybody else is just black, either American black or they came from Africa. You know, but yeah, it's a lot of assimilation does go on, a lot of intermarriage go on. My other cousin she's with African American. My other cousin, he's with Australia now, but his first wife was Haitian. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mixing with the whole diaspora that goes on in America.
Right. So I mean, there is because I was aware, like I think it's either Eritrea, Ethiopia. I remember I was speaking to some lady and she was saying that there's a lot of them who work here, and a lot of their money, like a small percent of their wages, goes back to Ethiopia, maybe the government or a particular like industry or whatever it is, to build up certain things that the country needs. Maybe that might be a solution for your thing, but I guess you have to care to want to do that. And that brings us to a bigger issue. Obviously, the reasons why people leave a country, which is, I guess, connected to what we're saying here, but the mindset of what they do. So the area of interest I'm in is what do they do when they get there, who they interact with, are they going there to network with other people from the same background, African American background, or the European background, and that's so important because I think forget where you came from. You then create this kind of like vacuum of people who's trying to leave when actually the energy that might be better placed is to try to fix what people are moving away from. So it's more pleasant because not everyone can leave everything, and you will assume that you are leaving family behind. So you said yourself that you have 27 people who ask for this, ask for that. But the idea is to, rather than, like I figure out what Empress Christian was saying, just rather than give a person a fish, you give them a fish, a boat, or some this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
but
Yeah.
the brother's got to understand as well, and I've always said this, and I stand by it, right? Is that, brother, we need to have a treaty, brother, with the diaspora as well as on the continent, and we have to have a thorough understanding on political and military science. We need to understand that, brother. There's nothing wrong with having a treaty and collecting abundant of us to invest in the resources to create weapons, planes, submarines, right? Then when you've got that power of security which you're yearning for, right, then we can have understand how to use money to get wealth. You understand? And then how to control agriculture and how to grow food, and then we can get the healthcare in. But if we don't have understand political science, military science, but you'll never have security. And we seem to not understand that. You want security, you have to have a treaty. You have to sometimes, brother, go to the extra mile and say, we have to build a military base. It may sound very outlandish, weird, and things like that, but the non-African
it's not outlandish. Not outlandish.
Not
No,
gonna
it's not.
protect you.
It's not outlandish. No, I just want to say you're not. It's not outlandish at all. It's not outlandish at all. I mean, you're absolutely right. You need to have a security base. You need to have a military. You need to have. You need to have all those stuff to protect it. Now, I was going to respond to what Stanley said real quick. He said that there's not a lot of mixing in the U.S. diaspora. I don't know what he's talking about. If because he said he used to live in Northern Virginia. If he ever lived in the D.C. area, he knows that it's a hell of a mix. Okay, even my other sister who died. I had another little sister. She died in 2020, right? She was 33. She died. Her husband was a black Dominican, and before that, she was with a black Panamanian. It's like most people I know are mixing, and I grew up in America my whole life. I've been there since I was 2 years old. I came in '88. You know what I'm saying? So I know most, even me, my one baby mama had, well, one time I was about to have a baby, but the baby died. She was African American. She's from Detroit originally, then she moved to DC. She went to Howard. But people are mixing. People in America, people mix. I mean, even nowadays, even black and white people are mixing a lot more than they used to. Because I mean, people now are just mixing. So it's like, so I don't know what he's saying that people don't mix.
All right, brother. All right. We're sorry for your loss, and we try to slow it down and try to recognize the hardships of people. We're sorry for your loss. But yeah, So how we starting in for those joining now? Basically, we started the show asking the question: what does the Black refugee massacre in Morocco teach us about the Black allies? If you're looking at the screen at the moment, unfortunately, in Morocco, there was many refugees that were hogtied and beaten. Unfortunately, over 23 were killed in the massacre. There doesn't seem to be much media response. So we asked the bigger question: is it beneficial for Black people to expect non-Black people to show social support for the Black challenges? This was a question that we came in, and then we have obviously unpacked like the reasons why people leave their country and what they do when they get there, and do people remember where they come from, and is there a way to fix the reasons that people are leaving, to minimize people leaving and make them want to actually stay there more, to not actually maybe risk their lives in such a way. So these are the questions we're asking. By all means, you can ask questions in the forum. By all means, we have people here.
To respond, Brother Raven, to respond to our brother, Mr. Pilu, right, in regards to the mixing. There's nothing wrong with African descendants mixing different tribes if they want to, right? But the thing is, brother, if we look at it on a political science way, that when you are mixing with a tribe from the same nation, right, is that the mixing must comprise of, like how it was in the continent, that we're going to build economics and security, right? We have to look at it from that way, is because if we don't look at it from that way, brother, we are mixing for the sake of it. You see, when the non-African people mix with us, brother, they mix with us because they understand the melanin is going to secure our longevity. They understand that. Also, that the African kids that comes from the womb of the non-African woman is going to protect white supremacy if it's being brainwashed. You see, brother, you see these investments, but when it comes to us now, we're mixing for the sake of it. So we definitely have to understand that if we are going to mix with tribes, there has to be an economical agenda as well as a security agenda. It must comprise of that.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with you. Because people are mixing just because they're around people. Like we mix because we mix with the people who we're around naturally, right? If you go move somewhere and you live with people, you're gonna be mixed with the people you're around, and that's normal. I mean, so and what you're saying is true, but it's gonna take a bunch of people who have like you basically gonna have to have like a mafia. You're gonna have to have like a secret society, or it's not a secret. You're gonna have to have a society, and you're gonna have to have. I mean, you basically need institutions. You're gonna need a think tank, an institution. You're gonna need a bunch of stuff to get a bunch of people to have the same type of policies and do it worldwide. It's gonna take a lot of commitment. It's gonna take a committed like vanguard.
We're in a position, brother. We are in a position, right, to fund institutions, brother. The African Americans, brother, no disrespect to you and that, right? You are in a position with the money that you have, right? Likewise with the African Caribbeans as well. We're in a position, brother, to fund that institution. All we've got to do, brother, is understand that these celebrations that permits in the 365 days, right? If we fast from these institutions, brother, and keep away from them, right, you'll be surprised how much you can gain. You'll be surprised, brother. Believe you me, and that it is possible. Holistic fasting from non-African people's celebration, which has nothing to do with Africa at all. We can use this money, and then we can start building, brother. You see, we can start. But if we don't do that, then it will be a dream, and it will be a full stop in our progress of black betterment.
Yeah, and to add to that, right? I think we have look in America, right? We kind of do have the institutions as black people right now if we know how to use them correctly, because we have a whole series of black colleges right there. That should already be our think tank basis, because we have a whole network of black colleges, right? Even me, I went to black college. I went to Morehouse College in Atlanta, so we have a series of black colleges, and they do exchanges to a certain extent, but they need it's good. We have institutions, but it's this organization. Because look, I'm gonna tell you the problem. Like, for example, right? I live in Prince George's County, Maryland, east of DC, right? That right there has the biggest black middle class in America, the biggest, most black wealth in America. Yeah, but it's still a lot of poverty in PG County. If you look at PG County, there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of ghettos, a lot of slums, and so you have rich black people living next to poor black people, and they don't really care about the poor black people. They live right next to them, because we're one of the few places where both sides of town is rich. I mean, one saying both sides of town are rich. Both sides of town is black. Whether the rich neighborhoods are black and the poor neighborhoods are black. And we're one of the few areas in America that's like that, right? Where you have all blacks living in rich neighborhoods right next to all blacks living in poor neighborhoods, right? But even then, is no coordination, because a lot of people are in a terrible condition. Like, if you go to the hood in America, a lot of people are just in a terrible condition. They will need like a whole cultural change. They'll need like I mean people, you know.
Okay, brother. Yeah. So no, I hear that, and you're dropping a lot of science on it, and that's why it comes down to recognizing the problem and then working with other people for the solutions. So it's about really working with those who do. What we have on the screen at the moment is recognizing that most of the ideas for betterment will come from a smaller percentage, potentially around about 5%. So it's about having an aim. So if you recognize that you live in a city where there's half rich and half poor, and they don't interact, then it's about trying to get the people who can to do something to fix that particular environment. Try to create a scenario where you can take the poor and put them in a better light, so they can be contributing to the betterment of the collective in different ways, right? So it's action, but what I'm saying, it's also mindsets that you have to want to do it, and that's why sometimes, like, articulating your goals and how your betterment is going to work, as in you want black areas to thrive, it needs to be there. So we say that 5% are going to come with the aim, and 30% are going to action it. So you want to either be within that 5% or within that 30%, and that's where we want to be looking at. Also, funny enough, why you made, I think Brother Khan was mentioning, as we mentioned certain words, he mentioned, like, when black people marry different tribes of black people, you're one unit, and you try to fix and you practice economics and kind of stuff. And he recognizes that when non-black people marry black people, they have a motivation to own wealth, resources, and they're married for a purpose to do a particular thing. So that means we're going to have a slight segue as we do. As you know, family, I'm collating case studies week to week where I'm getting information. So for the last few weeks, we were looking at, if I can find it, here we go. We were looking at first, or maybe a few months ago, we realized there was a pattern perception that every single UK politician that we come across is married to a non-black woman or a white woman. So that was one thing, but maybe there's no surprise there. Then we looked at, okay, the most popular sport in UK is football, and the most popular team in the UK is England football team. So we said, okay, well, let's get every single black football player we can find who play for England, and let's see who they marry. So far, from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, 21 so far who we found were married to European women, while 5 were married to black women. I'm sure there isn't nothing going on there. And then we said, okay, well, what about in the 2010s and 20s? Maybe it's changed. Well, no, it has changed. Since then, it's 39 so far found, while 7 so far. So we thought, okay, we're just going to move from topic to topic to see if we can see the patterns. So the new pattern I moved on to is black British directors. So right now you're realizing that maybe certain directors are getting paid, getting more opportunities to make movies. So far what I found, if you guys have any other information, let me know. We've seen patterns. These are all the most prominent black British directors. 7 of them so far married to white women. Oh, one particular one's married to Chinese or Asian. I did not guess the particular part. And I found 1 director so far, Idris Elba. He's married to a black lady.
Because he's from Sierra Leone, so he know better. He's from Sierra Leone. That's why he's like that.
Maybe we need to study Sierra Leone and see whatever philosophy is going there. We need to spread it to the mainstream media in the UK. So that's just to update you with the pattern perception. Every 2 weeks or so, I try to see this kind of stuff. Just a segue, just because I have to put it in. But going back to the topic at hand, as we say that. So, brother, Peter, go ahead. So you're gonna say before?
No, yeah. Speaking about that though, to be honest with you though, hey, guess what though? I'll be honest with you, I've seen a new trend though in the last 7 years, right? The next 5 to 7 years, I've seen a new trend, right? Okay. This is new. This is new, right? And now I'm actually seeing a more. This might not be around the country. This might just be a DC thing, right? I'm seeing more black women, white men now. I never used to see that back in the 90s, right? But now is a lot of black women now are with white guys. I never used to see that, but now it's picked up. It's picked up heavily. It's like heavy. I mean, so it's like it's kind of slowly balancing. I don't know if it's gonna balance totally, because I know it was usually be a lot more black men with white guys. But now a lot of black girls, especially like those professional girls, you go to any rich neighborhood in DC, like go to Georgetown, all that stuff where all the professional people at. All the black girls who work in the professional jobs, all of them, most of them now, majority of them now are with white men. If you go to hood, it's different. Of course, the hood, everybody's black, right? But if you go not outside of the hood, a lot of the black women now are walking with white men hand in hand with babies and everything.
Thank you, brother.
Where's the bullets or the what's that? Bullets. Well, who's that, bro? Raven.
When you say bullet, so basically, have you heard of a singer called Seal?
Yeah.
He's got a brother who recently, his alias name is The Bullets, and he recently made a film called The Harder They Come for Netflix.
Okay, that was him.
That was him. He's the brother of, obviously I have to do my research. He's the brother of Sil. Both him and Sil are married to Europeans. Unfortunately, unfortunately, brother Sil was divorced, or he divorced his wife. I think he's with another white woman. So that's who he is. He's recently come up because of this Netflix deal and stuff. But this pattern. Unfortunately for black directors and stuff, I only was to find one director who, brother Idris has been married 3 times to 3 black women. So we hope that he stays with this particular one. But
because he's Sierra Leonean, so he don't have a complex. Sierra Leoneans don't usually have a complex. Well, especially his tribe, especially the Creoles. His tribe, because me and Idris Elba are from the same tribe. We're from the same tribe. As a matter of fact, I actually know Idris Elba's uncles. Matter of fact, he's one of the only people in his family that I don't know personally. I know a lot of his relatives. I know a lot of his cousins. I know a lot of his. I know his one of his main uncles. And I know a lot of his cousins. I know 3 of his cousins.
Brother Raven,
yes, bro.
It would be best in our interest, brother, if we codify on the political analysis that if we are going to use an African descendant from a particular tribe, we have to be very careful. And this is no disrespect to our brother, Mr. Pilu, because the dopamines that we have for our tribe is a beautiful thing. But if the dopamines are not controlled properly, and it makes you say to yourself, wow, my tribe did this, so we are above all things because the other tribes are not doing it. This could cause disorganization, which is why we have to find a codified way, brother, of preserving the nation without destroying it due to one tribe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost like there needs to be a way how brothers and sisters from can acknowledge their background, their culture, and everyone has a tongue-in-cheek laugh here and there. But at no point does it become a tribalistic kind of versus we're better, you're better. And this is the study, and this is I think there are certain groups who are probably so. If you were to go to certain Pan-African movements or certain kind of certain people with a certain kind of experience, those people could probably have those kind of back and forths, and it would just flow naturally. I guess the average person who isn't really Black betterment minded or Pan-African minded, the speech from them might actually take over, and it might start transforming into let's create certain dedicated words for non-people of our tribe and let's mistreat them. And this is Brother Carol is correct in this, as in trying not to have that kind of segregation kind of behavioral pattern, whatever. But
I always say, Brother Raven, and this is for our African family, you know, if you believe your tribe is very famous, known, and very conquerous and dominating, then has it destroyed white supremacy, regained back full control on the African continent, have a military base to protect the African Americans, and also to restore back the resources in the Caribbean and protect the Africans in Europe? If it hasn't done that, then respectfully, sincerely, control your dopamines, because we're not there yet. All due respect to the family. So
what we're gonna do, family, is we've now just done a quick case study, a very quick one of pan perception. Happens every 2 weeks. Something we have to be aware of. It seems that there seems to be a pattern of on at least European media TV, the majority of people who seem to get airtime and stuff seem to be not married to Black women. This is from the male stuff. We haven't done the female version yet. I suspect it won't be as high as the males, but this is something that we want to be aware of. I think sometimes when we talk to Black people who don't want to be synchronized with Black betterment or any form of betterment towards Black people working together, we could be to ask them the question: what is their views on this? You find many people in out there in internet land, they have many conspiracies and stuff. And when you show them things like this is not a conspiracy. This is normal. You know, this is how things are. So you just want to check that their mindset's working correctly and stuff. What we're going to do at the moment, well, I've got a video that's on YouTube. We're just going to play it and see what we hear, because it tackles a similar thing where we're talking about the question of. Let me quickly get the wording right. It's how it correlates. Where is it? There we go. Is it beneficial for Black people to expect non-Black people to show social support for Black challenges? Long words. Yeah. So, and I think that I spoke on this topic at the park. So we're going to go to the park now. Have a few listen, see if anything's come up as we talk. And we've got free paper. We can pause at any time. Go, oh, this correlates. Blah blah. So let me find that share screen button, which is here. And then we find the stop there, and then we find it again because it's a bit funny. Let's click on that one. There. So we're going to press play. I don't know if you can hear this. You can stand up, I don't see. So back context, I was at SpeaksCon last week. I've been going, I've gone last Sunday. I'll try to go as many times as possible. This conversation happened. I was talking to a brother about Black betterment. I was approached by a brother who said, I've heard you on the internet. I'm very inspired by what you're doing, and I like your consistency. And then, he liked the pragmatic way of how I was communicating. And he had a friend with him, and his friend was quite the opposite. His friend was more so, his friend was saying things like, I understand that in the religion I'm from, many people might mistreat me, but I'd rather unite with a person based upon my religion rather than someone from an ethnic background or Black background, this might be. And then that recording wasn't recorded because they wanted to keep private. But after that recording, COE recorded this, and this is us talking about the legacy of it. So let's see if anything correlates with what we're saying today at all. Who knows? Let's see. That's fine. Most people don't want to be seen. They don't like their face, or they don't work with Israelis. I always they're like. We're talking. It's still we're talking. But what I'm saying is, I'm talking. What was before was so important, and it happened. I don't recognize it, right? Black people talking about ways to fix black issues, and a black person comes and they use religion that they probably learned from something else knows as the tool to stop it. Regardless of the philosophy or the good or the bad, the outcome is you guys coming together to work on this. Don't do it. Pray. Read the Quran. Read the Bible. Yeah? And if you when I say that black people are collectively inadequate, you'll see. And when I use the philosophy of you have that one skillful person, Helen, or you have a couple of people who are in crutches, it doesn't mean nothing. Right? So let's break it down what I'm saying. So I'm trying to give you brothers, this is the tools of how you speak when you're talking to a collective people. One is you might talk in public about the necessity of black people coming together to build and do industries and stuff. And then they'll go, well, I do this. I hear this a lot, especially with many of the grassroots black people. I do this. And what they do, they talk about themselves doing all these wondrous things. And I think the idea is to give an analogy like, yes, Pele, Michael Jordan, very skillful individuals. But if they're on a team and the team ain't passing and they're not passing, then how can you win your league if you only have one person doing everything and everyone else just not up to par? So that was just me giving an example there. Right? So yeah, that. By all means, if you should pause it, just say pause and I'll pause. Your friend, a friend of ours, was like, yeah, but I don't do that. But he was this one remarkable black man who does all the great things. But even he, as a remarkable black man, refuses to pass the law. How do we know? Because when we're talking, he goes, yeah, that black stuff, no, no. And then he goes slightly offended and starts saying, oh, yeah, I will never tell your thing. And then you're just going to fail because you don't have metaphysics in this kind of thing. So you'll witness it, of course. So the brothers didn't want to be seen on camera because they have work. So that's another thing that they feel that their views might compromise their work. Something black people have to get.
Okay, and let me add to what you were saying before about passing the ball and stuff. I'm gonna tell you one thing I noticed about black groups and black organizations and black movements in America, at least, right? Mm-hmm. What I noticed is this: the one reason why I think a lot of people can't get along is because there's a big all or nothing attitude that every group has, right? You got your Hebrew Israelites, you got your straight black pride, you got your new Black Panther Party, you got your More Science Temple, you got your all this stuff, right? And I'm just talking about American example, right? I know America. I don't know what's really going on in the Black Britain like that. I mean, I got family over there, but I don't know about the whole black political movements over there like that. I don't really know too much about it. I can only tell you about America, more especially DC, right? You have all these different black groups, but the problem with a lot of black groups is always an all or nothing mentality. They always have like you either 100% agree with what we say in our camp or nothing. And if we can't agree to disagree on certain things, I don't see how all the groups could come together if they can't say, you know what, if we disagree on 20%, but we agree on 80%, how come we don't work on the 80% that we agree on? And even if we agree on only 20%, right? But we disagree on 80%. Why can't we work on the 20% we agree on? You know what I'm saying? It's like I think that's also the problem with a lot of black organizations in America is all or nothing attitude where they can't be, they can't have any type of flexibility in who they're going to work with. That's one thing I want to add about why I would see a lot of things coming together.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, and we see that. I think Brother Kel did say that it's actually a value in many different social groups who find betterment or synchronization or coming together, but there might be different ideologies. But I think, having them all work for one cause is important. And funny enough, what I find very valuable is collective groups that articulate black people helping black people on black issues. That's a very important start. Some questions have come in as we're speaking. Let me answer them so we don't get confused. And I can unpack stuff here. Raven, I have a serious question. Let me pull on the screen so we can read it as well. Raven, I have a serious question. Why do you try to convince black people that do not want black betterment to change their minds? They won't change. Get with like-minded people. So just so you know, brother, before we started, I showed a diagram of three phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So this shows that I'm aware that only 5% of black people need to come up with ideas, and only 30% of people need to practice it. So if you check some of the old shows, I talk through people to people, meaning a person will come and their mind is never going to synchronize with anything of a black nature, but they're going to have a lot of the arguments that many people on the fence will have. So you basically answer those questions, you talk through them to the others. Case in point, this correlates with what I'm saying now. We were saying earlier that sometimes you have a person who is dedicated to black betterment. They're constantly saying things like, "How can we do this? Let's help," and everything they do seems to be based around trying to find solutions about challenges. And then you have certain black people, and they come in many different shapes and sizes, many different, algorithms, blah blah blah. But they always pick stuff apart, and they always talk about kumbayarism, indirectly or directly, but they still want to be flavored in blackness, but they talk about kumbayarism. And if we look in the comments at the moment, we have a brother that says Raven doesn't watch much sports apparently. Talent can carry a team, bro. So what we're saying is, and we wish the brother well, who said that this particular brother, he's exactly what we're talking about. Like, there's a fixation with constantly picking apart black people trying to find solutions and find holes in it. But you'll never find him with any passion giving any solutions. But you will find him throwing in hints and ideas of why you should practice kumbayarism and try to be with other people. This is a pattern. Now, of course, we're never going to reach this brother. But what we're going to do is we're going to give the brothers the tools of how to deal with these kind of behaviors, as well as talk through them to others. Yeah? So that's something we have to do.
I believe it all boils down to either you're busying yourself helping black people for their liberation, or you're busying yourself helping non-black people to exterminate black people's liberation. And for those in the comment, you either fall into one of those two categories. If you don't understand racism, you are going to help non-African people to exterminate black people's freedom. You can talk about racism all you want, your ideology, your type of definition, but if it's not correct how the black psychiatrists explained racism, because they know best, then you are there to help non-African people to exterminate black people's freedom.
Yeah, I want to add to that, and I want to add to something that audience member said, or somebody in the chat. He said, "Nah, Pelu, the reason we can't get along is because too many people are mentally, emotionally, and financially unstable." And and that's what I said earlier. If you go to hood in America, even where I live in Prince George's County, it's on the hoods. Yeah, you could tell people are unstable every type of way. Yes, people are mentally unstable. A lot of people are insane. A lot of people in my hood I know are insane. I'll tell you that for a fact. They're literally insane. It's a fact, right? But the only way to fix these issues, to me, I think black people have to have some type of like deep manners training, because we gotta learn how to be very, very gentle with each other, because that's the only way that a lot of healing is gonna work. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done, because a lot of people are broken. Yeah, that's a fact. I know that's a fact. A lot of people are broken in every which way, in which way there is. Me, myself included. I'm not even gonna take myself out of the thing. I'm broken in many ways. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not, and it's going to take a lot of gentility, a lot of black on black gentility.
We agree, and hopefully coming for the Black Band broadcast, when we start with the 4D values, discernment, dedication, discipline, all these things hopefully will help, and you should see a kindness there and an understanding. And that's why, despite the dedication to unsynchronized behavior, there's always kindness there. And so even when we respond to the brother and say, "No, Raven, I only pick apart your arguments," we always approach this brother with kindness. And we always do the same challenge I told others to say, like, ask the brother can he put any good suggestions of how black people can help black people on black issues? And you can always ask him, is it a good idea for black people to practice black betterment? So you're challenging people to highlight what they do, because unfortunately, trollism is, fun for many people, and there's a historical reason why that is. But, you can still show brothers and sisters how to deal with unsynchronized behavior. And what we're going to do now, go ahead, brother.
So the comment was, I only pick apart your arguments, but that means you are there to help non-African people to extend our freedom, because Brother Raven's blueprint is about liberating our people. So if you're against that, then by necessity you are helping non-African people to exterminate their freedom, and you don't understand racism, and you're not qualified to speak on racism, let alone call people to what you're upon.
The good thing about Brother Kel there, and this is what I'm going to be doing as I move out through the interweb land and going on panels, is actually ushering a challenge to all the brothers and sisters, because I think as we start hitting to like a different phase now, we need to have the lineage and draw lines in the sand of saying like, we might have a panel of 8 black speakers, but on this panel, how many people actually want to work with black people for solutions? And when you start hearing the kumbayaism and I've got this one friend who's been with me since I was 7, and that's how they wish to start the story. That's how they wish to start. When you're asking particularly who wants to find a way to build stuff with black people, and they want to work with non-black people, then you have to let them know that actually, brothers and sisters, me and you are on a different side of the board. We're not really on the same side. Now, I will help every single black person time given when it comes to pro bono work. But I've made it very clear there's only a small select few who I practice black band with, and there's certain rule sets that I do when I do stuff. And unfortunately, those brothers who are practicing kumbayasm will not be on the board of making decisions for black people because they failed. They don't qualify. They don't qualify for just the basics of a love, a dedication, and want to synchronize with black people to find black solutions for black issues. So unfortunately, how a person talks, you can tell where they are. So once again, we're training brothers how to deal with the unsynchronized. When you have a brother who says that, who comes on a dedicated program of trying to find a collection of ideas from the community to fix black issues. When you have a guy who's fixated and saying, "No, Raven, I only pick apart your arguments," which isn't true anyway. You understand that there's a deep challenge going in the minds of many, and this brother isn't isolated. But once again, we use him as a case study. We use them as a case study, and at a certain point, we will be drawing a line in the sand and saying, if you don't confess or practice these kinds of ideas, then you will only be what I call phase 3. And what phase 3 is? Phase 1 is the ideas. Phase 2 is action ideas. And phase 3 is osmosis. You live in the idea. But we're going to hear in here. So let's carry on listening while people jump in. Where's the play button? Play!
I don't compromise my work, let's go to the sunlight. My sister with dog, I don't mind going on. He's still talking about he's actually still talking about this. We respect his spot. 4K special. What I'm saying, brother, I don't know if you saw that, but did you notice that, brother? Did you notice that? I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the people talk about doing something, and the conclusion was do nothing. You know when it comes to like a philosophy, philosophy training, that people just experience the truth, right? You know something correspondence, coherence, and you got some people that say I'm a pragmatist. I don't care how true it is, as long as it works.
Raven, is that
well,
the highest
pragmatist, right? And it's a pragmatic way of looking at the situation, right? Like as long as it's improvement. I don't really care about the metaphysical assumptions that he's so worried about. I do care, but it's a waste of time to focus on it now. And I lean towards your side. Even though myself, I'm religious and I'm thinking God and all that stuff like that. And aspects like that, like black empowerment and stuff like that, I'll be pragmatic. Like as long as I see measurable progress in people that look like me, people that need it. Like even more, if we talk people like Africa, that's the kind of stuff that make my heart go soft to get. Like. So the thing is, you can. I want you to see, bro. I want you to see how non-black people.
I can't turn it up here. Condition. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Is there? I think this is the maximum I can turn it up here. I can turn. If I turn it up here, let's see if it goes up loud enough. Let's see if you hear it. Hold on.
Who are identified as black?
Is that louder?
To be able to
yeah, it's louder. It's louder now. Yeah.
In non-black groups, it's not by osmosis. That's why I say about the term elitism or qualitism, as I say, right? Where you find a small group.
It's not really clear though. It's not really clear for other people though.
So I'm assuming because it's coming through my mic and the stage mic. I'm assuming. I'm going to say something. Yeah? I'm going to turn it down. Let me know if you can hear it now. Hold on. I'm going to test something on my equipment. Can you hear it, guys?
We could hear it. It started off loud, but then it got quiet a little. Then it got quiet again. Like it was sound like it was going to get better. But then it got quiet again. I mean, I don't know.
I've got a feeling it's actually coming through. Oh, you know what? It actually is. It's coming through my speaker. That's where it's coming from. It's coming through my speaker. Because this is actually live on the browser, I'm assuming.
And you've got to remember it's in Speaker's Corner, so all that background noise and stuff
fading in and out.
See how he used to like really get the volume really good. I don't know what's.
So if it's very bad, then we won't be able to use it. Unfortunately, and it's a shame. But saying that though,
But you can break down if you remember what they're saying.
Yeah.
Or you can put the subtitles on and play it on silent, and do you know what I mean? And so it's
they don't even know they're in a better environment. That's what I told you, right? Yeah. And what just happened was a demonstration, right? Yeah. That's the solution we're trying to see. It's a very, very pragmatic, very practical, very executional.
I ain't gonna lie, yeah. This algorithm of the speed of where it's translated is actually quite amazing. Can you hear me?
They've really updated that software, haven't they?
It's crazy, man. I take it's not on the screen because it's not on the screen now, but I'm looking at it now. It's actually doing it. It's like, whoa, that's not bad at all. But anyway, we can leave that because look at the time already. You've got 50 minutes on every school. But basically, I'm going to put the link anyway in the group. So there's a link for you guys. So definitely follow the. Oh, where is it? Comments. Definitely follow content over everything's page. Maybe what I should have done is download the video and whatever. But maybe next time, who knows? Yeah. But the moral of the story there was there's some good stuff in there as well. To be fair, hold on. Where is it? So this is share video. Hold on. I wonder if it's a tab. Hold on. I think if it's a winners, no, not that one. Winners, no. So tabs. No, tab should have audio, right? Share the tab. Let's go audio. Press play.
And then my ethnic people, because classification has been discriminated, right? Because I gave examples here on camera as well, right?
Why does it do that?
When you think about sexism, you think about dynamic between man and woman. You think about racism, you think about that.
Sorry, guys, I just tested something. It's got its own mind. So we won't go do that. Oh, no. But what I'll do maybe next time, it's probably like 300 megabytes. Like, I'll see if I can download this stuff and play it direct. Because I think when you play a video directly in the stream, it's probably better anyway, to be honest, rather than this shared browser way, which is, I'm trying to think of the technology, but let me not think of technical stuff now. But anyway, brothers and sisters, we have Brother Kel, Empress Kushti, and Brother Pilu, who are contributing today. Would you guys like to let me actually share? Would you guys like to add your kind of final thoughts, I guess, because the time is drawing quite near. Of anything you like to add before we kick? Have I even turned this down? Have I done silly stuff? Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here, bro.
Oh god, yeah. It's hard to tell sometimes. This microphone. Yeah. All right. So yeah, family. So like I said, what does the Black Refugee Massacre in Morocco teach us about? And just so you know, brother, not that we expected it, it would have been good to catch some of the narrative of other brothers and sisters, maybe people of Moroccan descent, or maybe Muslims, or people who are more closely connected to what's going on and see their views, but we haven't got that yet. Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of people who get caught up in that trafficking. They think it's a better world. That trafficking has been going on. I mean, this is a human trafficking disaster, you know. And when you put yourself, when you make yourself vulnerable, you know, we shouldn't be making ourselves vulnerable to these things. You know, it's a vulnerability when you're voluntarily going into human trafficking. You're basically like putting yourself into a slave-like position, you know. And that's one thing as a black person you never put yourself into. That's in the position I think you should never put yourself in that position, you know. And what's driving them in this position? They don't think they have they can make an economy for themselves in their country for whatever reason. And yeah, we're gonna need some solidarity and military security and health. We're gonna need security. We're gonna need we're gonna need and security that's actually gonna secure us instead of oppress us, because not all militancy is a good thing. I mean, I came from a war-torn country. I was born in Sierra Leone. We left during the war times, you know, and so, you know, and that's our issue, because it's a security. If people felt safe, you know what I'm saying, and they was able to build in their country and not be and have the opportunities to build, they'll be more motivated. But it's we need a dedicated security structure that's actually dedicated to securing the people's ability to make the best out of their own life in their own realm, which they can dominate. Thank you.
Brother Kyle or Empress Christie, anything you'd like to add?
In regards to the massacre in Morocco, definitely, as I said, any African descendant that's going to Morocco, they need to make a treaty with the Black Moroccans. I'd advise become an object of desire in the sense that you go there and you market yourself that you're also going to help the Black Moroccans, so you can trade, build with them. So when you're familiar with the Black Moroccan community, then you can understand if those who want to come to Morocco and build there and to help where their land is, then you got a good understanding how the politics runs there and the ins and outs. That has to be the strategy for any African descendant that wants to go to Europe and build or form a treaty to limit these type of mistreatment. Other than that, you'll be lambs to the slaughter. No non-African person ever does that. They always check and thoroughly understand the places where they go, and they always come with an entourage of a collective. That's my last comment.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Just gonna clear that. And Empress Christie.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, just kind of sticking on my same point. I think it was Dr. Francis Chris Wilson who said that, you know, if you don't understand white supremacy, everything else will just confuse you. So, you know, if we're saying that we understand what this is coming from, then we need to react accordingly.
I hear that, brother. I hear that, brother. I'm just now gonna.
Brother, bro.
Hold on, sorry. I was.
It's all right. I'm playing with you.
Yeah, sorry about that. You can tell I'm working too hard. I'm just going to test some of this audio stuff, but while I do that, thank you, family. I miss you. Hope you'll join back, and definitely enjoyed the information given. Well, I'm just going to clear the room now. We're going to try to get a perspective from a different angle. So we're just going to clear the room to have a quick one-on-one before it goes. So thank you, family. Let me get the link as well.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one. You did great. Where's that link gone? There it is. So I can get a different perspective now. Let's put it. So many windows open. There we go. We're going to post the link in there. All right. So we've now cleared the desk. So if we want to, if it'd be good if we had any women perspective jump in. Any woman want to add any perspective just so we can get a balance. We've had 3 men, 1 woman. So maybe if any women want to jump on, feel free. Now's your time. We'll end the last with the woman perspective. Feel free. Meanwhile, let me close that down. It's a shame about the video. I need to really research that. Big shame. Keeping in mind while we wait for any to jump in before we hit our 12 o'clock dead limit. Don't forget, as we were saying, with the 3 A's of change: aim, action, assimilation. So sometimes we always talk about it'd be good if we had this, it'd be good if we had that, but sometimes we have to decide, are we going to be that? Remember, when you're talking to Black people, you're trying to find solutions. This is a test you can do. If they're constantly picking apart the things you're doing and then constantly talking about other groups and kumbaya and working with other stuff like that, then they might not be ready for this kind of solution. And you might need to highlight to them that actually, brother, we're on different ends of the board. Our strategies is how to show self-determination, work with other brothers and sisters to find solutions. And the way you're going on might not be really correlating with what we're doing. So yeah, this is something that they have to know, something they have to know. Let me just send out that. And that's done. Oh, we have a guest. There we go. Welcome. Hold on. Well, Sister Tash, so now we have a woman's perspective, as we tried to do for the last bit. How, Sister Tash, we're going to get the imagery up. Just like that's like your opinions on this particular topic, brother. What, sister? That's twice now. Twice. You can tell I've been
What's
working all
going
day. I
on
didn't sleep.
here?
Yeah, listen. That's,
It's late. It's late.
Not twice in a row. Come on, man.
I'm just gonna get. I just gonna get some more. So you ladies talk about this because I definitely need it. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, no. A quick point. A few points on this complete madness that's taking place across the waters on the continent. It's barbaric. It's horrific. And as a Black Muslim, we definitely, I believe, and I'm speaking for myself before anyone else decides to message me, I believe I have a duty to bring awareness to issues like this. We saw George Floyd, one man, and I'm not taking anything away from that incident. It was absolutely disgusting. And we saw many bodies on the continent in a particular space where a lot of men that are non-Muslim identify with those dark-skinned, melanated men that are on the floor, and looked at us Muslims and do question what's going on here. You know, what's actually happened, and legal or illegal, because I heard that comment on a previous channel. It doesn't matter. How they are being treated is inhumane. I don't care what ruling that they are going by, it is inhumane. And if we can do a global, and everybody's concerned about the George Floyd and stopping that from taking place, we can do the same thing for these brothers. We should, and for us as the Muslims, we should be making sure that the Quran and the Sunnah is intact, and we are speaking to those brothers. Not all of the brothers. I know people are saying they all may not be Muslim. Those that are, we should be reaching out and questioning, what are you doing? We are not for any form of oppression. Islam is free from that. What are you doing? And it is our duty as Black Muslims to make sure that we put our foot on the gas with this. So yeah, I land my plane there.
Very interesting Black Muslims perspective. Very important. It is a conversation we would like to have. Definitely injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, whatever it is. So, you know, and it's never good to see that. But, you know, hopefully as time goes by, we can have that bigger discussion about that. But I think it does raise that question. Is it beneficial for Black people to expect non-Black people to show social support for Black challenges? And I think it might be in our collective best interest to never expect it, because we might be preparing ourselves for more heartache and pain. And also, there might be a bigger strength in trying to sort out our issues here, so we're more better prepared for when these things happen, that we have institution ideas, media hubs that can actually get more boots on the ground, packs in the air, you know, messages to the family, that kind of stuff. But once again, it seems like there seems to be a thing that affects many people groups when it comes to Black people. It seems that the history of mistreatment continues, and at this current point, I do believe Black betterment is the solution. You know, or is a work in the direction of the solution, as in expecting Black people to work it out, to come together, to improve the conditions that we're in, because no one else, not only will they do it, but they might actually be part of the process of keeping us down, unfortunately, which we are observing. There you go.
That's a hard thing to grapple with.
And
if you're a part of certain groups.
Yeah.
And I think, although that makes sense and it's easy enough for me to understand to do that, I think if you're with like what Sis Tash said in regards to her religion, and it's in one hand, and this is on a presumption that, you know, those Moroccan people abusing those Black people were of Muslim and even the victims, right? Because no one's to say that they're not. But it's just interesting because I just, for myself, it's just hard to grapple with that fact where you're saying, okay, you know, if one of my brothers is in sufferation, I need to stand up, I need to do something. But then effectively as a black Muslim, then you kind of have to not expect that, but then be there for another cause, but not to expect anyone to be there for the black cause. So I think that that's, you know, maybe how it perceives to some people on the outside, um, and that's not to say people from the outside should dictate who you start having, you know, what kind of fight you want to stand up for. This might not just be your fight. Doesn't mean that you didn't stand up for another fight with black people somewhere else. But I think that's what's difficult. When Palu was talking about all of the different groups, thank God that's not us at the moment, but he was reading out a list of different groups. And I think that's when it comes kind of hard, when you're just saying that, you know, if just that basic of just, you know, look around, and if no one's looking after us, we should look after ourselves. But that's difficult in their separate groups. It just caused more, you know, internal conflicts, people from the outside talking up, and just more tension, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Yeah.
So Sister Tash, I guess you'll look at. Is there any last words you would like to?
Add to what I said to that, just in case I just said anything wrong or you want to correct anything.
Definitely.
Sorry. Yeah, no, it's just to say, and for the Muslims, right, let's forget the sex that we're in and let's just focus on humanity. Let's have some sort of respect for ourselves and let's not look like complete fools. Palin, you're right. We are working together. We are all people that know that this is wrong. Okay, so let's not get into those kind of disputes. Let's actually make the issue the important thing.
Let me jump in on that, sis. So if we can try to minimize the kind of like, religious kind of like doctrine kind of stuff for now, we're not dealing with that, and it's very hard to manage, and when there's many people from different sects, and it becomes one thing we always want to remember is we all have our ideas and we all have our own history, research and stuff. But one of the things I've learned when it comes to black bearment, you'll find black people in many different religions, non-religions, way of lives and stuff. So when we make blanket statements, it makes it harder to form a kind of coalition or unity, because people become attached to the things that they were raised in or they believe. So try to have
from the off. There's nothing there in relation to what I'm talking about. The fundamental thing of what that whole sentence is about.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like one thing, and now we're nibbling on one thing, and that is just a constant. It's just a constant with us as a people. I don't know why we're stuck on things like that. But I want to say as well, actually, that it's not just the Muslim community, you know, or I don't not. It's not just religious communities, because it's
of course
where there's lots of others within that group. I wouldn't say it's just the religious communities. I think even us as a people, what I've come to realize is that the everyday black person who wants to walk around as a humanitarian and doesn't see any problems, and we're all the same, and we all have the equal affordable opportunities and all that crap, right? I really just believe that they've just come, they don't even know subconsciously that they've just come in tune to the fact that when crises happen in relation to black people, there's a consensus, there's some sort of consensus. I won't speak out on black issues, and you just don't expect me to do anything for other issues. You know what I mean? Like, I think the black person is looked down on if he speaks about black issues, right? But you'll see, I mean, I don't think black people take up most like marching and protests anyways in general. I don't think we're the highest demographic in general, unless it's something to do with like something that's directly for us. I'll say that in general. But you do still tend to see us. Do you know what I mean? You'll see us at a Free Palestine. You'll see us at all these other marches and things like that. So what I'm effectively saying is that I think that they just have this consciousness, because when I watch you asking, or I see clips of you asking this direct question, there's just like this blank. And they never come to think of, you know, are they helping you? And it's like 100,000 different other things, as we can see. That's not, and it's just gone off of that question. But it's like that. It takes a lot for that to register. Do you know what I mean? But we will do the good fight. But what they won't do, we won't overstep the balance and say, what are you doing for us? How dare you even do that? You know, don't bring your head up and just be like, oh, I'm looking around here, I'm not seeing much for us. That's a problem. So I feel like that's the consensus of just the average black person now. You know, we don't expect anyone to fight for us, and we won't push to even expect it or ask for it. You know, even that's a problem. When you even imply it, it's just you can see the response that you get. So it's just that I really think that we should just look at ourselves as a people. Who's always expected to do the big fight? Who's always expected the people to be understood? Even when you're hearing about trans, anything that's just so nothing to do with race related, who's the first people they mention? Black people. Like, we're the hub for so much rights. I always say, even if there was a group for people who were extremely pale and they had a big fight, there will still be a black albino person leading that fight. Like, we're in every single fight, gay, trans. Let me tell you, even if there was a pale fight, there'll be an albino black person standing leading that fight. I don't know what is wrong with us, but when it comes to us, you're doing too much. We're all one. So black people need to really stop and assess it, like literally assess it. It's mad.
Yeah, it is crazy on that end. Good points there. Welcome, brother Stanley. Your mic's on, by the way, but just welcome anyway.
Actually, I have a question, a non-troll question. Could you relate that? Because I kind of agree with Pelu in some ways. How does that relate? How does the points you raised? We put a lot of emphasis on how other people treat us. I'm thinking of, you know, it's a conservative point, which I don't necessarily agree with, but how do we treat ourselves? And I know, you know, Black Betterment addresses that and all that stuff. I don't necessarily agree with your take on it, but it is very obvious in you know, in America and some of the bigger cities, that sort of stuff. How are we treating ourselves? High crime rates, high murder rates, etc. How does we actually need to treat ourselves well?
Yeah, Stanley. Sorry, one moment, Raven. Stanley, yes, there's accountability that needs to be taken in terms of how we treat ourselves. I don't know if you've watched this whole program, but
I did.
I saw
I have.
visuals. So you've seen some visuals, right, of where we are being treated in a particular way that is unacceptable.
Okay, I understand that point, and I concede that point.
Can we say focus on that today?
Can I make my point, please?
I
think I made my point.
So we're gonna ignore.
How can we expect other people to treat us better when we don't treat ourselves very well?
So how have they treated themselves?
Why we go on then.
Sorry, one moment. How are those guys that are on the floor that you saw? How have they treated the guys that we?
Okay, I conceded that point. They were treated horrendously.
So what are we going to do about that, Stanley?
I am making a larger point. What are we going to be able to do about it if we have a bunch of people on a Chicago street that are lying on the floor, victims of our own? Okay, I cannot finish my point without being interrupted.
Is that Chicago? Is there anything like that going on right now?
Yes.
Okay, so there's
at this extent.
Are you seeing what's going on here? Stanley,
no, I don't. Please explain it to me, Tom.
The video's up there, Stanley.
See the Tash, because there's a pattern I'm saying here. The pattern is, so let's just break it down.
So just say you're not ready to address the point.
Yeah, this is the point. I'm going to address it now. Because I'm just trying, because when we see patterns, you have to hold on, right?
Go
The-
sit
What,
down.
hold on. So what we're seeing is these are brothers from one would say Sudan. I don't know if your knowledge of Sudan at the moment is they're fleeing Sudan because they're trying to have a better life and they've gone through hardship, right? You're, talk,
Understood.
you're talking about situations in Chicago and stuff.
Well,
So
I'm trying
hold
to
on,
relate your
because
point
they're
to a
divided.
larger point.
Yeah, and I'm answering it because they're not in the same kind of city times or anything. One could push forward that they're not doing the same thing. So we should treat this as unique individuals
No,
being.
that's not what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is where my area of interest comes in now is how you will come on a program about black betterment, and we witnessed that black people are mistreated in a consistent theme. And your question is, well, how are we treating each other? And this is the pattern now. The pattern is how do we look at the mistreatment that goes on from our outsiders into our group, and then talk about us mistreating ourselves. And then another pattern is when we talk about black love, this kind of stuff, talk about how to love other non-black people. It's a consistent.
No, that's not my point either.
Well, no, but this is the history of the pattern that I've seen. And
Okay, I know the history, sir.
Of course. So what I'm saying, brother Stanley, is how should we treat people such as yourself?
I'm saying, how are we treating ourselves?
Good point. But I'm answering that. How should us, black people who want to help black people, how should we treat people like you?
What do you mean, like me? Describe me.
A person who stays in the side, critiquing consistently people trying to find solutions to black issues. And whenever we find mistreatment happening to black people, we don't ever focus on who's mistreating them. We focus on side points of, well, we're harming ourselves, so how can we expect others not to harm us?
Okay, I think I see what you're getting at.
Yes.
Can you walk and chew gum at the same time? I can certainly, and I 100% agree with the point that other people, Moroccans, white people, all a bunch of different people are treating black people like shit. I'm asking, do we treat ourselves? Can I please complete my point? How can we expect other people to treat us, with respect if we do not treat ourselves with respect? And I know black betterment is all about that. I concede that. I don't agree with your method, but I think the theme is right. We have a big task ahead of us, treating ourselves the way we want other people to treat us.
Are you included in that, Brother Stanley?
Sorry, 1 moment, Raven, if you don't mind. Stanley,
Go
let
ahead.
me be clear with you on this, and I'm going to have to be extremely direct here. We spoke briefly in the chat when you first jumped on, and you said you could not find any information on this catastrophe that's taking place in this space in the world. In Chicago, we are all aware, sorry, 1 moment, we are all aware of black on black crime. Sorry, 1 moment. This discussion is about the lack of awareness for this particular issue for these people. Okay,
so you're saying I'm off topic.
Sorry, Stanley, I want us to have some respect for these people, bro. That's what I want for today.
Wait, hold it.
If
How am I disrespecting these
to
people?
do that for today, Stanley, I would be
so the bottom line is I'm off topic.
Stanley, you're not off topic. The point is, you were very clear that you can't find any information on this particular issue.
In America, yes. In the American media, yes. True.
Okay, but wait, can we just put a pin on that, sis? Sis, we just put a pin on that. Because I think that's weird. How can he not have got no information? That alone just kind of backs up what she's trying to say to you. That's what she's trying to reiterate, that you've not heard nothing.
Okay. Maybe you're used to me kind of being a troll. I'm not trying to be one. I am saying that I don't know. And, I'm talking about the question is, can we expect other people to be allies? Correct?
Well, I just hold on,
Well,
Stanley.
no,
I've
is
jumped
that
on.
kind of the theme of the
I
show?
know you
How
want
can
Raven's
we
answer,
expect
Stanley.
other people? Can we expect other people to be
Okay,
allies?
Stan,
My
what do you mean
answer
other
is
people?
no. We cannot. We should not expect it. But now my question is, how
I
are
can see
we?
what this.
Can we expect ourselves to
Okay,
to
this is
treat
very
each other
interesting.
well?
Uh, Stanley, I put my hands up as somebody from this
Well, you
particular
should.
community. Yeah, I put my hands up. So I'm taking accountability. Okay. So,
Okay.
and
Well,
with
that's
this particular
okay.
issue,
You've answered my
I
question.
just, do you know what, bro? I just want us to be able to say, you know what? Let's be clear that this hasn't had enough awareness. It hasn't been given what it
I
should have been. And
100% agree with that.
okay, I appreciate that. So I would really ask you. I know you want to go down accountability route. I'm there with you. I agree with you on
No,
that.
I
But
actually
with this,
don't. It's a simple
okay, you
question.
don't want
You
you
did
don't
seem
want
a bit
black to be.
flippant, though. Excuse me,
I'm
Sister Ash. I just want to say you did seem a
yeah
bit
yeah.
flippant when
Okay.
Brother Raven showed piles of bodies piled up on each other, some looking like they were
How was I flippant?
in Chicago. Why don't you show about Chicago?
Well, no.
Chicago,
I'm
in Chicago. Do you know what's happening right now in Chicago? That was
okay. You didn't get my point.
I mean, I got your point after you followed on, but what I'm saying to you is at
Okay.
the
Well, once I clarified my point,
finish,
can we address my point?
let me finish, Brother Stanley. Yeah. What I'm saying is initially when Sis Tash was trying to speak to you and then Brother Raven was showing the pictures, your
Mhm.
first response was what's going on in Chicago. So that's what I'm saying.
No, that wasn't my first response.
It was, bro. So if
I'm sorry. Well, I almost didn't call in because it seems anything that I say seems to be kind of mangled
well,
as
I
far
was
as the
actually
point
gonna
I'm trying to
say
make.
I was actually going to say that I kind of understood, well, what I thought. I'll say what I got from what you were saying in regards to how we expect to be seen and treated as a people. When you were saying it, when you was going to that angle, I do agree with that, and I've said this before, that this will continuously happen if this is the perception of Black people. I've given examples where if you see someone from like a Chinese, Japan, Asian descent, a Jewish descent, you have an issue.
Palestinians.
Exactly, you have an initial assumption of that person before they've even spoken. When you see a Black person, male or female, you have there is an assumption of that Black person. Those assumptions are very different. That person's not even opened their mouth. They've not done anything. They've got a lot to prove before they've even opened their mouth, and they're aware of that. So this boils down to the perception of us as a people. Everywhere we go, people think that it is okay to blatantly disrespect us and treat us like animals.
100%.
So I agree with you on that premise. So that's what I was going to say. So that's what I kind of meant. So I was just saying that maybe initially it seemed flippant, but when I heard you, when you said about, well, what do we expect and the perception of Black people, I do agree with you on that part. So, let us finish, bro, and then you might find that, we are listening. We've all got different ways to get there, but I understand where you're coming from on that part. And I do believe that, as Brother Raven said, that I don't see any other race or any other immigrants who are fleeing looking like this, that look like that and that go through that kind of treatment. They all seem to
Well,
look.
I was actually shocked that I hadn't heard about it in the American press. I mean, Pelu said he's in D.C. The first time I heard of what happened in Morocco was from Raven.
And I just
So,
think that it's not important enough to show because they're only Black bodies.
right. And really, my point is kind of, like I said, I'm trying to correlate the two. I'm not even saying, I'm not trying to connect to the tragedy of Morocco or in Morocco. I'm not making any sort of correlation, but the question came up, can we expect other people to be allies? And
Look, yeah, Stanley.
My answer would be no.
Okay,
But
can I just
how
respond
are
then?
we treating ourselves?
Okay, the treatment of ourselves, I'm not going to get into, but Stanley, your point is definitely valid, right? We are
Okay,
run
well,
by a
that's it.
right-wing
As
conglomerate.
long as you see the point,
If you
that's
don't mind, I'd like to
really
finish.
sure.
I'm trying to keep calm here today, with you people. Paley, you're on a wind-up. You are a disgrace. But I'm going to get to yourself first, Stanley. Right, Stanley?
Uh-oh.
There is an issue. No, not in that way. We have had a lot of coverage in regards to Ukraine and Russia. Do we agree? In terms of you see it on the news throughout the day,
Yeah,
throughout the night. There isn't any
right.
coverage on this, right? So when you say we don't have allies, you are correct to a certain extent. We do not have, but what we do is we have me in the West, and we can make that change and do something about it. We can make sure that we have coverage and make sure we have lines with the continent so that these kind of atrocities get the awareness that they need. So yeah, you're right. In regards to do we love ourselves enough? I think many of us do. Do we love the
Well,
collective? And are
I'm
we
not
sorry, one
saying,
moment, if you don't mind, let me finish. Are we dedicated to the collective group? No, that's the problem, and we need to be like that.
and that's my point. That's really my only point.
Palu, you can take a flying
Collective
jump because
meaning outside of
to
ADOS,
kind of
Danny.
make this Islamic
I'm
thing,
sorry.
is just absolutely ridiculous. Just focus on the issue, my brother. There's plenty of Sunnis. There's people from your
Well,
sect that have done things. There's people from every sect that have done things. Lay off these sex issues and just focus on the issue. Let's see what are we going to do about it. Okay?
Yeah.
Because plenty of Sunnis are living peacefully in different countries and not causing this havoc that you're seeing. So let's not put it on Sunnis, please, if you don't mind. Sorry, guys. You know what? I can feel my blood boiling.
No, it's okay. It's probably best you're here because, to be honest with you, with the average person who is not a Muslim, I don't understand this in-house sex beef anyway. So,
well, I'm actually starting to understand it. And I see Tasha's
Big up,
point.
Raven.
I think that Pelu, he shouldn't have done that.
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say that.
Paley enjoys putting the Britannia slave song in the chat. I don't understand.
Yeah,
I find that very strange. That's an insult to the Caribbean.
Clearly, there's a history of people
Britannia
doing
ruled the waves during slavery. I mean, that's an absolute insult.
Family, if we can refrain from the whole like sectism and this just for Black Bearman's sake, I understand there's a history of people knowing each other and having that past of mentioning certain ideologies where they disagree with whatever, but it doesn't really work.
I'll if you all are done with me, I mean, I hope I made a point. I think Kushti kind of got where I was coming from. If I was inarticulate, I apologize. But I mean, I really do believe, and just for the record, I'm not like a Black conservative American. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, you're more middle.
Yeah, but wait, what I was saying was on a point that you agreed with Tash. She emphasizes the word collectively, so you understand that she means caring about Black people in a whole, not just Black people who fall in the category of ADOS.
Well, I understand it. I have some points of difference, but it's irrelevant. I'm just saying sometimes, how can I put this delicately? I'm not absolutely sure why we expect, and this is going to come off wrong, so please forgive me. I think how you treat yourself, and maybe I'll limit it to an individual. If you are not doing self-care, can you really expect other people to care for you? And I'm talking, let's just say Stanley. If I don't feed myself, if I don't take care of myself, if I don't do the best I can, I don't think that other people are going to do it for me. You can't really expect other people to do it for me. So I'll stop there. So, before I really, go too far with it. I think that the Black community, specifically ADOS, and you can widen it as far as you think it needs to go. I think we have some work to do within our community. In Black betterment, I know it addresses it, so I'm not even going there. I'm just saying, whether it's Black betterment, whether it's taking education seriously, there's a lot of self-help, a lot of self-care that needs to happen.
I'm just saying,
Hey, look,
right?
hey, did someone put my timeout? Did someone put my timeout in the chat? Who put my timeout in the chat?
I agree with you, what you were saying, Brother Stanley, but I just think that, when we talk about looking at each other as a family, this is when the whole tribalism comes into it, right? When we talk about a family, we're just talking about the immediate family, or we talking about, the uncles and the aunts and the cousins. Now, I get, in order for you to help your uncles and your aunts and your cousins, you need to make sure that the immediate family is set. But we need to have that we need to bring that culture or that awareness within the family that, right, when we're set here, we need to make sure that we prioritize the uncles and the sisters and the cousins. When we talk about our initial problem first, but then if we hear about something happening to our brothers and sisters in Morocco.
No, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Who put my time down? I got to put a timeout? Who put my timeout?
Brother Peter, you're joining the conversation, so let them finish their saying. And if you were putting time out, it's probably because you were maybe repeating a phrase that they said, "Can you please diminish?" But let Empress Christie finish before we cover your point. Go ahead, Empress.
Well, I just want to say, Christy, you won't get disagreement from me. You may get it's not a qualitative argument that I would bring, and it's for another day. I have other arguments, but you know what they are.
Yeah, Brother Stanley.
I simply agree with you, Kush.
Yeah, Brother Stanley. There's a challenge for you. Maybe it's some homework. Maybe for next week or next time. Maybe think of certain solutions that you might want to push forward for Black people to work towards.
Well, I put one in the chat. And it's off topic. Yeah, you're right. I see where you're going. I do have solutions, but
Well, that's very valuable. If you can think of solutions for Black people, things that can bring forth betterment, Black people working for other Black people, that's your guidelines. So by all means, rather than waiting for people to say something to say no,
I will be on code.
There you go. Excellent. Well, we're gonna.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Wow. What is the date and the time that Stanley said that, boy?
Well, no, I'm only half here.
All right. We can leave the show on a high. Obviously, I need to get some rest. I misgendered some brown sisters this week, so I need to get some rest. Twice. That's terrible. But also, from future set, can we also in the forum try to have some decorum when it comes to people's beliefs and stuff? We don't want to just. I understand people have their own history and their own understand of certain things, but we understand that if there's any kind of collective group that brothers and sisters belong to, we want to tread very carefully because we don't want to cause confusion amongst brothers and sisters that we care about. But apart from that, next week hopefully we'll have a different topic and we might expand this topic. But until then, we'll see you soon. And please practice Black betterment. I need to get some rest. So see you guys. And thank you, Empress Christie, and thank you, Brother Stanley, and everyone who's contributed. Have a good one, family. Bye.